This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
So they're saving the pinfall finish for another time. And what will it be? Survivor Series 1996. Mick Foley's finally going to get his major match in Madison Square Garden, the match he dreamed of as a little boy. And it's with The Undertaker. And Paul Bearer is going to be hung above the ring in a shark cage. This is reminiscent from maybe a decade before where they were doing this with J.J. Dillon or Jim Cornette.
Gary Hart.
The shark cage concept for a manager. What do you think of that?
If the manager had enough heat, was physically active enough, so you want to keep him or her out of the fray, that's okay. You see it once a year, maybe you're good. So I didn't hate it. It's got to be built to that. It can't be, well, we're going to do this. Hey, let's do that shark cage thing. If that's because that's the best idea you got today to continue your storyline, it's probably the wrong reason, to be honest with you, Conrad. So I think if used correctly, I know the first time I saw one, I thought this is the coolest damned idea.
Right.
Because it really boils down to how well the person inside the shark tank, shark cage, whatever.
Yeah.
How well they sell. They're uncomfortable. They feel threatened. It's dangerous. This thing can fall.
Whatever. Yeah.
So that's kind of how I saw it. But it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. You just got to, if it was built right, and certainly with Paul Bearer using that urn on multiple occasions to actually beat the Undertaker, him being separated and hanging high above the ring, you could make a story out of it. In other words, so we could sell that. But seeing it once a year or so, or later, even more frequently, infrequently, was okay. But I wouldn't want to see it all the time.
Let's talk about the next big match here for Mankind, and it's going to be at Survivor Series, and it's a little weird when you think about it. I mean, they had sort of a Undertaker and Mankind had a willy-nilly, loosey-goosey with the rules match at King of the Ring. We follow it up with a Boiler Room Brawl match, and then we follow that up with a Buried Alive match, and now we're just going to have a regular match, except with a manager in a shark cage. It feels like we got the order backwards from a traditional wrestling sense, right?
Well, you bring up a good point, and it may have been kind of a wonky sequencing. But I can see an argument being made for that, Conrad. But again, I think when this thing started, remember the origins of Mick coming here.
Yeah.
Coming to WWE. The long-term plans had not yet been established. So we were kind of going on the fly there. And I just think that nobody thought that far ahead, to be honest with you, because the thought of this thing being a huge success with Mick and Undertaker, nobody thought it wouldn't be good, but nobody thought it would last this long and that had this many matches. And a lot of the credit for that can be should be acknowledged for Taker. Taker did more jobs for Mick Foley in the early going than he had done with anybody. Right. As far as I can remember, there might be some isolated guy or something, but he was, it worked out well, but I don't think we've thought that far ahead, to be honest with you, just all transparency.
The big thing about Survivor Series is not that Paul Bear's in a shark cage. It's sort of the rebirth of the Undertaker. That's the highlight. Since he's quote unquote dead, or I guess re-dead, I don't know. He comes down in a totally different presentation. He comes down from the top of the arena. He's wearing like a cape that makes him look like he's a fucking bat. He's got a teardrop tattoo on his cheek. It is a totally different presentation of the Undertaker we had seen before. Is this one of those things where, again, it's just time to freshen up the character and this is like as good of a time as any?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole idea. He's a stalwart. He is a staple. He has not just the long legs in reality, but it's got great legs for this character. But every character needs to be freshened up somewhat. You know, I remember when WCW wanted Ric Flair to cut his hair. God damn, that became a government issue. I mean, a big issue in wrestling. Oh my God, Ric Flair's gonna cut his hair. Holy shit. And I say to that, you got to be shitting me.
Right.
You're going to throw a shoe and have a vart over the fact that a guy's getting a haircut. Do you care? Are you that sensitive about your own life? Have you paid your taxes? Have you saved any money? Have you taken your kids to school? Have you done anything good other than fixate over a wrestling angle, you idiot? Come on. So I thought it was time. And here's the other thing, Conrad. Here's how it worked. It's something Taker wanted to do.
Right.
It's not unlike our show. We got great feedback, by the way, and I appreciate it because both of us enjoyed doing our show on WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
And the Astrodome. It was a cool show. Great event. But you know, Austin wanted to turn heel. It was a terrible idea. That's what he wanted to do. And like I told you on our show, Vince said to me, I remember it vividly, we owe it to him to give it a try. And that shut me down. You're right, Vince, it does. We owe it to him. And we did. Same thing here. Taker wants to do a different presentation, different ring attire, all that stuff. We certainly owed it to him to give his instincts another try.
Let's get to the match itself. Meltzer would say this match made psychological sense, but it was nowhere close to the level of some of the previous matches these two have had. After doing the Boiler Room matches, Buried Alive matches, where Undertaker was all but killed, it's hard to put these two guys in a regular match and get people jazzed about it. Most of the way, it was Undertaker working on Mankind's fingers. Of course, that's how he applies the mandible claw. At one point, Undertaker had Mankind by the throat for the chokeslam, but Mankind got the mandible claw at the same time. Because the hands had been worked on, the claw didn't work to its normal level of effectiveness, and Undertaker was able to hit the chokeslam. Mankind came back from using a foreign object, but Undertaker hit the tombstone for the win. Bearer was lowered into the ring, but before Undertaker could do anything to him, the Executioner once again nailed him from behind. Taker came back and ran the Executioner off in a weak sequence, 2 1/4 stars. So he finally beats Mankind, and it feels like we're transitioning right to the Executioner, but it just feels less than, right? I mean, the stuff with Mankind was just better, and the audience knew it.
We wanted to go a one-off around the loop with Executioner, aka Terry Gordy. It just wasn't in the cards. It just wasn't there. And you got to protect your top guy, no matter what. And even though we knew that Terry's heart would be in the right place, he would try. And again, as we mentioned, we salivate to think of how great it would have been if we'd had Terry Gordy in his heyday doing this. It'd been off the charts. It'd been one of the most phenomenal moments and programs and angles in the history of WWE, in my opinion. Wrong place, wrong time. So we had to back out of that situation. Terry just could not get it done at that point.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.